All right, I have signed up for Skip the Dishes. Here's my bag. I got one of those, and I got a pizza bag. For Skip the Dishes, it's a little different than Uber Eats. You mandatorily have to have the delivery bags. With Uber Eats, you don't. So I was using a home insulated bag that I had. This one, they made you buy it. It was 60 Canadian, and you also have to pay for your own criminal record check, which was 20 bucks. So in order to start for Skip, you actually have to put upfront money, where Uber Eats, there was no upfront money, no requirements of a bag. It was recommended, and some people will leave you negative reviews if you don't use an insulated bag. So it's always recommended. Another thing that's interesting with Skip the Dishes is that it's not like Uber Eats at all, where you can jump in at any time and start taking orders and jobs. In this one, you're gonna have to schedule, first set your availability for every week coming ahead so that they could schedule you in for shifts, and you can also pick up shifts. I'm gonna put up on the screen what it looks like. If you go to your availability, you can see that in here, I just put Tuesday that I'm available from 10 to 4 p.m. and that's for the 24th. Today is the 17th, so it's far in advance. But when you click on open shifts, you can actually see things that you can pick up immediately. Now, then you can go to my shifts, and as you can see, I have selected a shift today from 10 to 1, and in the evening 6:15 to 9:15. As you can see, it's 9:44. So I'm actually in the car. I'm heading to town because I did mention I don't live close, but this is the first day we're going to be doing Skip the Dishes. Stay tuned. I'll show you all the ins and outs and how much you can possibly earn, and if it does better than Uber. All right, so one thing you're going to notice, I'm going to put it on the map here as well. It's going to display your zone where you're working in. So in this specific application, Skip the Dishes, you do pick working zones. I'll put up on the screen here just to show what's available in my area. It has Mississauga, Brampton, and a Bolton zone. I'm not sure if they have anything like north in my area, but Uber definitely delivers in Caledon and Georgetown and all those. So I don't know if that's not available to me because it's oversaturated and very booked, or if they just don't deliver in those areas. So first thing you'll need to know with this application is Skip the Dishes available in your city? As you can see, it's showing me in that zone that I selected for Brampton that I'm starting at 10 a.m. Now, strangely enough, I got a message at 8 a.m. saying that it's available to start my shift now if you wanted to get an earnings opportunity. I'll show you the notification. I screenshotted that. But now that I'm actually coming up to the area, it's showing me there's no current extensions available, and your shift will start in the zone at 10 a.m. Now, so I am here a little bit early, and it seems like they're pretty strict on the schedules, and you cannot start whenever you want. I almost feel like I should hop into an Uber job until I wait here, but it's way too close. It's starting in 5 minutes. So in here, I'm going to show you the delivery zones and scheduling preferences. So in scheduling preferences, you only get the selection of how many maximum hours do you want to be scheduled for. Nothing too crazy, but if you look at this page here, this shows you the delivery zones that are in my area. So it looks like Whitby, Oshawa, Toronto, Markham, and I mentioned Mississauga, Brampton, Bolton, and it looks like Burlington's available there. I don't know why Oakville's not available. It's right in the middle, or why even Hamilton might not be available. Again, maybe those zones are have too many drivers and they're not accepting any new shifts, so you can't make it your delivery zone. but I'm not entirely sure. So if you do want to start Skip the Dishes, I do recommend you download the app first, check the availability in your area, if you can work, and that's a good start right there. I will note that the one very interesting difference between Skip the Dishes and Uber as well is that for Uber, you have to have a vehicle registered to your name and insurance on that vehicle. With Skip the Dishes, they don't actually ask any information in regards to what vehicle you're driving or if you have insurance, which means if you have a friend who can lend you a car, hopefully one that doesn't use much gas, because now I'm thinking maybe I'll borrow someone's car that has a way better fuel economy than this SUV. That could be a good way. Also, it could be a good way if you're trying to just make a little bit of extra money and don't have a car yet, but you do have a family member or a friend who can lend you a car, so you can make that a little bit of extra money, and hopefully you can even give them a little bit for lending you a car. So it's definitely a good idea. So as you can see now, it says my shift has started and I'll be receiving orders soon. So I just press OK. So I'm not sure what's going to happen if you're late to a shift, but I'm sure eventually I'm going to figure that out and give you all the info. Again, this is the first day. All right, well, as I displayed on the picture, I'm a little bit on the edge of the map. I've already been waiting 2 minutes and I have not received a order request. So I'm gonna do what I do when I try Uber. I'm gonna get a little bit further into town where there's more restaurants and fast food joints and coffee shops, so that I can match myself better with an order. All right, as you can see on this screenshot, I moved quite more into town, and it's been 10 minutes and still no offer. Okay, so we finally got a job offer, and it looks like it took 14 minutes. Looks like it's the same as Uber Eats. You're allowed to accept or refuse the order. Now, the only difference is I'm noticing they're just giving you directions, so the app doesn't actually have a platform that you can drive on. But if you click on those directions, you will get a pop-up menu saying you can open it in Apple Maps or Google Maps, or copy the address if you want to put it in a different application for directions. Now I popped it up here on Google Maps, and it looks like I have to leave the Courier app to use the actual Google Maps. If not, the Skip the Dishes app will only show you directions to how to get there. So one thing I've noticed so far is that the distances you have to travel with this app are quite lower than Uber. Uber, I get sometimes $3 requests and they want me to drive 10 kilometers. If I did that, I would make 50 cents, maybe 60 cents. But here, you see they're all under 5. Now, if I did get one that is 6, like this one here, it says 6.1 kilometers, there's a transit pay top-up. So it looks like these guys are actually adding extra money, which makes sense and is really good. Also, hopefully later on there might be tips that come in. I don't know if these are prepaid or if it's kind of like Uber where it comes in about an hour, but we're gonna find out. So far I've been doing this for about an hour and we're at $17 made, with probably an estimate of about $6 of gas. So it's not going well. As you can see, the first order I took was only $3 and pennies, but I am currently taking all the orders just to get familiar with the app. Now, if you notice at the bottoms of these new offers, there is an acceptance rating bar, and it looks like they're expecting you to have 80% of or more. As I mentioned in the Uber Eats review, I don't actually accept anything that's like $3, so I reject those offers. But here, again, with the distance, it seems that you are getting decent pay. And if it's going to be over 6 or 5 kilometers, it seems like they're actually topping it off. Just like this order I'm getting right now is 2.6 kilometers for $6. So for me, 2.6 kilometers is around 70 cents of gas. And I did mention you have to know your math. So if you're in the States, you got to figure out how much does it cost you to drive 1 mile. And in Canada, you have to figure out how much it costs you to drive 1 kilometer. For me, to drive 1 kilometer, it's about 25 cents Canadian. So every time I see something 10 kilometers, I know that cost me $2.50 in gas alone. So if it's a $3 order for 10 kilometers, I'm not going to accept it. So know your math and do it right. But it seems like this application, Skip the Dishes, actually pays you if it's over 5 kilometers. So that might be something to consider if you have a car that consumes a lot of gas like mine does. It does about 12 liters per 100 kilometers. With today's price of gas, there it is right there actually, $2.08. That kind of becomes a small fortune. So you definitely want to know your math before accepting orders. With Skip the Dishes, it seems like it's almost a no-brainer. If there's more kilometers, you get paid for it. The only thing I mentioned, you have to keep the numbers in check when you're doing Uber, because there have been job offers I've received that after completion I would seriously make 50 cents to $1, and that's just not an acceptable wage. Even if it's not that far, it might take you 15 minutes. You can only do 4 jobs like that if it's 15 minutes out of the hour. And if you're making $1 every 15 minutes, you're making $4 an hour. No one's gonna do that. Like, you gotta consider the wear and tear on your car as well. All right, so I've sat here for a few minutes and decided to look around the app. And if you notice at the bottom right corner of the map, there will be a button that looks like layers. So this is kind of like a filter right now. Mine, as you can see, is set to zones. I'm gonna go ahead and switch that to hotspots. And now the map is showing something completely different. Now it's showing me blue circles where there is an abundance of order and deliveries. So if you want to get more orders frequently within the zone that you're working, you can go ahead and start driving towards one of those blue circle zones, and that will guarantee you get more jobs. And there comes one right now. So that's what it looks like when it pops up when you're not in the app. Now you just press on it and it'll give you the details of the app. So I'm going to go ahead and accept the next one. So in this one, acceptance rating is more important. It is even saying that the lower your acceptance rating, the less offers of jobs you will be receiving. So that's something to keep in mind that is different than Uber Eats. All right, another day, another dollar. Now I'm going to be going out for another 6-hour scheduled shift. And I'm going to do the recaps shortly. Now, also, if you sign up for the Skip the Dishes app and you do the tutorial, they will tell you that some orders are prepaid and they have a cash option. And they tell you to bring a float of at least $60 and make sure you have change to give back to the customer, because the way that works, you pick up an order, you pay for it with your own cash, and then you collect cash on pickup. Now, I talked to another skipper, is what I'm going to call them, and we were at the same restaurant picking up an order, and she would first skip the dishes as well, and she's been doing this for about 2 years. She said that since the pandemic, they don't do the cash pickups, so I don't have to worry about bringing that $60 a float. She said she has not seen that in the last year at all of any cash orders coming in. I also figured out the reason why I got a small $3 order as my first order when I first started off. So, as you can see here on the screen, it shows there's a promotional top-up, which makes sense. So normally orders would be $3, but every single order I got now is $6. So depending if they tip $2 plus that $3 delivery, they're still topping up to $6. That's why I'm getting a lot of $6. They are taking your tips, but they're nice enough to top up all orders to be at a minimum of $6. As long as your rating is over 80%, and it resets every 10 orders. So if you screw up your ratings, don't worry, you make 10 in a row, you'll be back at 100. That is a very good tip that Uber Eats does not have, and you still do $3 jobs. So I don't know when this started or when it's going to end, but right now I can tell you that this is a great promotion, especially based on the gas prices around the GTA or the world for that matter of fact. And $6 per order, I have been accepting every single order because I haven't had a single one over 10 kilometers, which would be $2.50 of gas. Every order I'm netting over $3. So for me, it's worth doing it. Now obviously the money is not huge. You're not here making $25-30 an hour, but as a side gig, it's good. Now how does it compare to Uber? Exactly with that promotion, it's kind of hard to compete. So stay tuned for the conclusion. So I am running late for this shift, like promised. I was gonna see what happens. I did get a notification about 3 minutes ago that my shift is ready and I can log in. I'm not even in the area yet. I'll probably be there in another 2 minutes. So I'm gonna go on the app and see what it says. So starting the shift late did absolutely nothing. A good tip is you can start the shift and then pause the orders, but if you're paused for a half hour, you will be turned offline. Now I had a funny situation too. I had a pickup from McDonald's and a delivery to a high school with no customer instructions. So I waited at the front of the school and I tried contacting the customer, but their phone was off. I called twice, and you're gonna see the messages on the screen here of what's gonna happen with the order. Now I called them twice, and you have to wait a full 5 minutes before you can select the order to be undeliverable. Now as you see in this message here, it also states that you do not go back to the restaurant and you just leave the order. So I left it at the front of the school. There was a bunch of kids around. They probably took it. It's not my business. Keep your phone on, or give instructions where you want to have your delivery put. All right, let's get into the numbers. But first, also, I wanted to show you there's a referral program. If you're interested in joining, you could use this referral code. It even shows you here there's no active promotion for referrals right now, but maybe in the future or where you are, there could be. That could help me out. All right, so this screenshot here I'm showing you, within those 2 days, I made $238.65. Now I did spend about $65 on gas doing all those trips, and this was approximately 12 hours that I was on schedule. So what this comes down to as an hourly rate is $14.47 per hour. But in conclusion, I would like to say that Skip does have fair wages and smaller distances. I will be making a more broad comparison and a more in-depth comparison when it comes to comparing Skip and Uber in the future. So subscribe, hit that like button. I should be coming out with that video in the next 2-3 weeks. I want to give as much detail as I can and continue doing this further. There's different strategies to use when you're doing Uber Eats versus Skip. So I want to try to maximize this to actually see which one could be beneficial and best. If you haven't seen my video about Uber Eats, there will be a link in the description below. I'll also link my referral code in there for Skip the Dishes. And once the new video comparing Skip and Uber Eats comes out, I will be adding it to the end screen here and the description as well. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.